It's so nice to be here. I mean, it's काफी अरसा हो गया speaking at a public forum. So really glad to be here. I am very aware of the fact that I'm following lunch, or इस वक्त सभी लोगों को नींद आ रही होती है. So I'm going to keep it light and different. Seema tried the best to explain to me when I asked her, and I gave her a lot of questions. लोग क्या कहते हैं? लोग मेरी कहानी क्यों सुनेंगे? What do I have to say that's relevant? And especially talking to an audience that I don't even know most of you. I see a few familiar faces in the crowd, and I'm glad to see those friendly smiles. And so, what I have planned for you is probably a little different from what other people have spoken about or done. I'm going to start by sharing a little bit about myself and my career journey. I heard a lot of laughs and some smiles when you read my title. मुझे कुछ समझ में नहीं आता what I do actually with that title, because director education at a bank, it's like, what does a bank do? Or what does a bank have to do with education, and what the hell is a director education doing in a bank? So I think that's a good place to start. And I'm going to try to explain what I do, how I got here. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my passion and what is keeping me going, and some tips that I think you may find useful over the weekend, over the week, over the month, and over the course of the year. So, I started my career fresh out of university at Greenwich in advertising. It's not an atypical choice for people, and especially people I think that do well in their class. I think it's not considered a very high achiever kind of occupation. But I was young and मुझे बहुत attraction थी. हमारा teacher भी advertising का बहुत अच्छा था. And I'm like, hey, this is it. I want to do this. And I started off in advertising. Spent a couple of years, handled some clients, Coca-Cola, Reckitt, Credit Agricole, and the bank used to be there. Did it for a couple of years, and I said, no, it's not working for me any longer. I don't want to do this. I can do more. Started doing my MBA at the same time, and I did an evening program. I then went into non-profit, and I spent a year in non-profit working with GlaxoSmithKline's NGO, and didn't like that either. I like development, and I've actually gone ahead and majored in it several years later, but I didn't like the non-corporate world. It wasn't for me. Then I kind of recalibrated again, and this was around the 2003-2004 mark. जब दुनिया ना बैंकों की तरफ भागे चली जा रही थी, that was the heyday of banking, I think, and Najib was my first banking boss. And everybody wanted to be in a bank, work for a bank, be a banker, and I landed up at UBL. And you see a familiar pattern start to emerge. 2-3 साल लगाए मैंने वहाँ पर. फिर मैंने बोला कि नहीं, इसमें भी कुछ मजा नहीं आ रहा, कुछ और करना चाहिए. And I was very lucky, and I think that's the stage, I think, at where I started getting luck with good bosses and good mentors. I wanted to quit banking, but I had a very good boss, and he gave me a good break. And I went off to do a year sabbatical in Italy, and I did a second master's. When I was sabbatical ke liye ja rahi thi, and my boss is here, my team is here. Nobody thought I would come back. People were convinced, ये तो आएंगी नहीं, उन्होंने कहा हम settle कर दिया, ये हो गया, वो हो गया. She will not come back. And I said, no, I will come back. And I came back. And I went back to banking. 1 साल का यूरोप में ब्रेक लेकर पढ़कर रिवाइव होके I went back to my banking job. I worked a couple of more years in liabilities and the card and payment space. And then I got a call from a friend who worked at Standard Chartered, and she said, you know what, we have an opening. I think it might be more your interest. Why don't you come talk to me? And like many of my career decisions, मैं बड़े casually UBL से ठहरते हुए Standard Chartered गई, बड़ी casually बात की, गपशप की, उन्होंने टेस्ट दिया, मैंने टेस्ट कर लिया, ऑफर आया, मैंने एक्सेप्ट कर लिया, and I ended up in Standard Chartered. So if you see, there's never been a time where I've done something more than 2, 3, 4 years. And in that, I think is my first kind of lesson from my life, and I have lived my life. I know it says I have 20 years of experience, but I started working very young, so I'm not that old. So I think the thing is that when people tell you you can't do something, who are they? Who are they to say you can't do it? Of course you can. I've changed my career many times, so it's almost like a chameleon. And every time people are like, oh, now she's doing something new, or ये तो बिल्कुल ही काम नहीं करेगा. But I've made every step work. As a woman, I've faced some obstacles. Obviously, I mean, I was married, I got divorced, I got remarried, I'm now happily married, I have a child. And there were a lot of challenges being a woman in financial services. Even being a woman in a multinational bank and travel, it has been challenging, right? It sounds very glamorous to be flying back and forth, but it's not very easy, and you have to have a very supportive manager, a very supportive family, and a very supportive set of friends. Because it's not easy for anyone, man or woman, to do this. So fast forward to today, where I now look after Standard Chartered's global investments in CSR, and I look at the CSR investments in education. And ironically, I work on a program called on a program for young girls in marginalized communities. This program is active in 23 markets, and I'm happy to send the links to emails, to things where you just have to point and say, Mariam, I'd like to know more about this. And when I joined Standard Chartered, and I think even now when we were catching up with some old friends, people were laughing and they were like, we never thought we'd stay that long. But I guess I stayed because I'm having fun and I really enjoy what I do. And I think a lot of that is again coming from the fact that अक्सर हम सुनते हैं, but it's very hard and I'm very lucky I think to have found a passion or an occupation which allowed me to do something that I like. And before I move on to the things that I want to share with you, or the things that I'd like you to benefit from, like I have benefited, I want to share that Seema mentioned that I'm now doing a certification and becoming a coach. So what is a coach? It's a very loosely used term, and I think it's a very trending term. जिसको देखो आज हम coaching कर रहे हैं, हम mentoring कर रहे हैं, what the hell actually is a coach and what do they do? So in the pandemic, Standard Chartered invested in a lot of its women in particular, and I was the recipient of some coaching. That coaching helped me, I think, remove some pretty big blocks in how I thought and how I took on problems, and I really enjoyed it. I'd like to digress a minute and just talk a bit. When they assigned me a coach, and I got an email saying you've been selected, blah, 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 blah. You will get a coach in your time zone and who speaks your native language. I paused for a minute because I'm working for a Boda bank. I work with the London office, and I'm like, in my time zone, तो मतलब 2-3 nationalities ही बची हैं जो हमारे time zone में आती हैं, and speaking my language, तो nationalities और कम हो गई. And then I got the name of the coach, and it's not very politically correct to reveal his ethnicity. But when I heard that name, I was like, ये मुझे क्या coach करेगा? I know so much more already. And that was the biggest myth that actually got shattered over the course of those 6 sessions. That man taught me not to judge based on a name or an ethnicity. And I felt I left that coaching experience 6 months later very empowered. And then I wanted to be a coach. Because I'm like, this is it, and now this is my new thing of CSR में बहुत साल कर लिया. And because I think I'm lucky really to be in an environment where I think man or woman Standard Chartered allows you to pursue your passion. So my boss said, fine, do it. Do the coaching course. अगर आपको, if it works for you, you want to do it, why not? And so now I'm almost a coach. And I've learned a lot from it, and I thought that I'd share a little bit about who I am. I don't want to talk more about who I am because I personally think I'm just an ordinary person like you, and I think कोई भी बंदा चाहे वो आदमी हो या औरत अगर दिल लगा के honestly काम करे, they can achieve success. It's not a magic formula, but there are some tips and tricks which we can use really to our benefit. And I'd like to spend, I think, the last couple of minutes on those. So I want to ask a couple of questions. And I know I hate being asked these questions at town hall. Speakers आते हैं, सवाल पूछना शुरू हो जाते हैं. किसी का दिल नहीं चाहता कि हाथ उठा के जवाब दे. So I'm quite prepared to receive no answers. But I want you to hear my questions and at least think of the answer in your head. So how have the last 2 years been for you? Like really been? For me, the last 2 years were horrible. I had extreme anxiety. I was very stressed out, and I know I saw it in my friends. I saw it in my family. We were worried. अम्मा अब्बा सही रहेंगे या नहीं, सेहत याब रहेंगे या नहीं. शुरू में तो लगता था वैक्सीन बनेगी या नहीं, वैक्सीन बन गई, पाकिस्तान आएगी या नहीं, पाकिस्तान में कितने की होगी, चलो फिल्म में भी लग गई. So it was a constant series of stressors that life was throwing at us over the last 2 years. And that brings me to my second question: what did we learn? थोड़ा सा तो शरिया ने हमें बताया कि हमने क्या सीखा, but what did we really learn? That's a very good answer. Thank you. And now my last question, and I don't want you to answer this, but I want you to just remember the question and hold it in your head or your thoughts till the end. There's a lot of people in this room. I was a little surprised when I was told कि इतने सारे लोग होंगे. I'm like, अच्छा लगते तो नहीं है कि इतने सारे इतनी छोटी जगह पे fit हो सकते. But there's a lot of you here. If you look around, who is the most? Who do you think, in your opinion, and don't answer, don't even tell your friends who you're sitting next to, who is the most powerful person in this room? It's not him. It's not him. That's the answer. But who do you think is the most powerful person in this room? Just think of that. Towards wrapping this up, right? Why do so many of us struggle? Subah ko uthte waqt. Why is it hard? Is this approach of working hard and studying hard, is this the best approach? मुझे तो मेरी अम्मी ने शुरू से कहा अच्छी तरह से दिल लगा के काम करना. बॉस ने भी ये कहा वर्क हार्ड, प्रमोशन के टाइम पे वर्क हार्डर. It's all about working hard, isn't it? मतलब किसी ने ये नहीं कहा कि हो काम पर अच्छी तरह से enjoy yourself. No one has ever told me that, but I heard that. So this brings us to why can't we get up in the morning, right? Why do we find it so hard? We find it hard because हमारा दिमाग and हमारी body, we've become accustomed to expecting the same kind of day again and again and again. It's the same people, it's the same work, it's the same routine, it's the same gossip. Nothing is changing. It's the same routine, and we are at it. And that's why when our alarm rings, a lot of us struggle. कौन जाएगा? आज छुट्टी कर लें? नहीं चलो 1-2 दिन और कर लेते हैं, फिर रमजान शुरू हो जाएगा, टाइमिंग कम हो जाएगी. But you know, it's not always been like this. For those of us that have children and young children, when they know they have to go to a field trip, how do they wake up? They wake up before we can even wake them. They're up, they're ready, they're excited. So what happened between us being that small and us being however old we are now in this room, right? Something changed. And the thing is that if we can capture what happened when we were small, our days would be not so hard. And it would be easier. And actually जब ये शरियात बात कर रहे थे, मैं थोड़ा सा दिल में खुश भी हो रही थी, थोड़ा सा परेशान भी हो रही थी, because he actually had one of my main kind of takeaways as I wrap up, which is we don't need to work hard. We really don't. What do we need to do? And this is what I want, and I'd like to share with you. We need to just pause. You know, go out, go in your garden में, balcony में, balcony नहीं, किसी कमरे में, sit alone and just still your mind. Still your mind and still your thoughts. See what happens. We have to learn, I feel, to select our thoughts just the same way we select our clothes. When I'm choosing what shoes to wear, what ring to wear, why can I not choose what thoughts my mind must hold that day? Right? Because this is a power that all of us, we can cultivate this power. It's a habit. We can't control anything else. We can't control the stressors, we can't control the pandemic, the variants, nothing. But we can control our thoughts. And that, I feel, my friends, is my biggest learning of the pandemic. And you know, again, I've been talking to friends as things are opening up, offices खुल रहे हैं, दोबारा हम लोगों से मिल रहे हैं, and I'm talking to more and more about what I did. And a lot of them think I'm crazy, by the way. My own husband thinks I've lost the plot. Really, he does. And you know why? Because I've learned this lesson that I shared with you of holding my thoughts. How do I actually make it happen? I now take a 4:30 a.m. start every day. If you are my friend, you can check it out on WhatsApp. I will be up. I will start my day at 4:30. Some days I'll say my namaz, some days I won't. I'm not a very religious person. But I will use that time and I will still my mind. जो भी मेरी अपनी habits, practices, काम, किसी दिन फौरन लैपटॉप खोलूंगी, किसी दिन कुछ भी नहीं करूंगी, किसी दिन सिर्फ बैठे रहूंगी. But you know that early morning start is actually something that I feel has changed my life. There's a lot of books around this. There's a lot of TED Talks, a lot of other kind of evidences around this. You see this in the West, and it's not even their religion. 4-4:30 बजे gyms भरे हुए होते हैं, बत्तियां जल रही होती हैं, लोग पागलों की तरह एक्सरसाइज कर रहे होते हैं. Why? What have they discovered? They have discovered that if you start your morning right, your day is in your control. Your thoughts are in your control. And there's a couple of tools that I like to kind of mention, which I feel have helped me and can maybe help you also. There's a lot of talk nowadays about social media. बहुत time बच्चे इस पे गुजारते हैं, Instagram पे, TikTok पे, ये वो. I'm not in that group of people. I love social media. Right? I'm on every social media that there is. But you know what the difference is? That I cultivate what I consume on that media. I'm not watching my, old friends, people I don't get along with, people I don't like. I watch a lot of inspirational content, a lot of motivational content. I watch a lot of theological content, which makes me think in those couple of hours. So I consume my media, social media, and otherwise very, very kind of with select care. Because what I put in controls my thoughts. If I watch junk, I'm going to talk junk. So, and I don't want to be that type of person. I read a lot of books. One that I highly recommend is The 5 AM Club by Robin Sharma. पढ़ के देखे थोड़ी मुश्किल है, खुलासा पढ़ लें, उसका book review पढ़ लें. It'll give you a couple of real valuable life lessons. Breathe if it works for you, and there's lots of breathing, box breathing, different types of yoga breathing, meditation. And on the day that you are busiest, it's the most important to take out that 5 minutes to breathe and meditate. It will really affect how you perform, how you speak. I think so. And try it at home with your family, your wife, your children. It will change how you feel inside. And I know शुरू में थोड़ा सा ये मम्बो जम्बो से लगता है कि ये पता नहीं क्या कह रही हैं, क्या बातें कर रही हैं. It's an alien concept. But you know what? If you try it and you repeat it a couple of times, you will see and you will feel what I'm talking about. Then how do we manage our day? I think the days and time have really moved on from when we do a classic to-do list. They are much smarter, more agile tools there. Ones that I find particularly handy, and you should look again. I'm not going to talk. I know I'm over my 15 minutes. Time blocking. I time block my calendar all the time. We all have Outlook. Go into your Outlook. Block out your time. Give me a thinking time. I'm not going to talk to anyone. And I will push back if my boss wants me to give up that time. Of course, I want to make sure it doesn't conflict with an important deliverable, but time blocking or pre-planning. So on a Friday, before you wrap up for the day, today is Friday, look at your calendar for the week ahead. क्या ज़रूरी काम है? Do you need to build in some gaps, some thinking room? Do it now. Another kind of tool that really works is the most important task of the day. जो आप list बनाए ना, उसके अंदर भी ऐसी कुछ categorization होनी चाहिए. There are some things which चाहे come hell or by water, I will do no matter how long it takes me. The rest, I don't care about. So what is my most important deliverable of that day? I'm very clear on it. Then there's also a method called 6 tasks a day, in which you can only put on your to-do list 6 things. उसमें से जितनी होती हैं हो, 3 हो गई, 3 रह गई, तो वो 3 आप अगले दिन की 6 में चला जाएगा. You can only add 3 more on. So all these are just small tips and tweaks you can make to improve your own productivity. And I really think, I hope that the pandemic is over, and I hope we don't see any more Delta type variants coming out. But you know what? There's cities in the world going into lockdown again. So I think we really have to strengthen our mind and still our thoughts. And this is for the long run. It's not a short play. So we have to spend some time, invest in ourselves, invest in our development, just the way we invest in other things. Might only take a few minutes every day, but I promise you, it will pay off. Thank you.